Pasha Paroh, Y7, thank you for tuning. Got Trish McCabe back with us. Trish,
Great to be back.
always the perfect day. Thank you for being here. And thank you out there for being here too. I want to, I like this platform. I like having the great minds and people in my network around me that come and share perspectives and visions and insight, such as yourself, here for us all to indulge in. So I learned things from interacting with people just like everybody else, right? So I want to learn today, I want to have a conversation about the soulmate, the twin flame. We were speaking in B-roll and topic came up, and I think it kind of ties into why that 7 is at in this moment. So define what a soulmate or a twin flame is. You think, what do you think it is generally, and what do you think most people think it is?
Oh, your other half. No, I don't know a whole lot about the twin flame. I hear a lot of stuff about it. This person is your other half. And I just don't think, me personally, there's such a thing. A soulmate too. It's kind of like, I find that keeps people looking outside for the answers and not inside, because that's really the only place we can find the answer. So if we're waiting for someone else to come along, how another person can't really give that to us. So it's kind of I think it's another distraction. That's my personal opinion. Everyone has one. So my understanding of the twin flame or the soulmate is this your other half.
Mm-hmm.
This I have a friend who says, well, his wife completes him. I'm like, you're born complete. It's like saying you're not complete when you're born. What does it say about people that never meet anyone? They never got to be complete, and they feel like there's something wrong with them because they didn't meet the right person. And I personally don't see it that way. What are your thoughts on it? I'm curious.
When the conversation was stirring and you mentioned soulmate and twin flame from our previous conversations, where we left off with authentic and genuine, right?
Right.
It really connected with the new national anthem that I just put out, shameless plug, called Never Enough. And it's just like when you said one being incomplete, or the flame, soul mate, twin flame, slash, 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 is like looked at as being one's other half of oneself. And I like that you mentioned that we're born complete from A to zinc. We're whole. So any subscription of ourselves to being less than complete is our own self-created illusion, which is an imagination. And then we got to question, how does the trauma play into that? So I want to ask you a couple of things here, because if you go to a general survey, they're going to say someone that takes time out for you, right? Help you work on your confidence. You can feel like that's your twin flame or soulmate. Help take responsibility in things, kind of like they're emotionally stable, but compared to what?
Oh,
Right?
something that immediately comes to mind kind of helps you uh, see yourself. Okay, I can see that. But if someone can tell you some about yourself, good, let's say they think, oh, you're beautiful. If you don't believe it, know it yourself, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It won't suffice. It has to be internal first. You have to see it in yourself first. You can't rely on someone else to give that to you. What if they leave you? What? Then you're left destroyed. I don't like that. That leaves people dependent. That's where codependency comes from, you know,
Yeah.
dysfunction in society. Then it makes you a beggar. It makes you needy, always looking outwards. Like the dating world, I think is, you know, riddled with a lot of this. People will put up bravado of what they think
Mhm.
someone will like to see.
The
Even
representative.
when that person comes to them thinking of that person, then once they get to know them, we're like, wait a minute, you know, it's not fair to do to yourself. It's not fair to do to another person. The best way to find the right person for you is to be you. So then they're attracted to you, not some idea that you put out there. It
So
wastes a lot of time. It was a lot of wasting of time, I think. And I know I did it. I speak from firsthand experience. So
I feel it's safe to say everybody does it in some way or at some time
yeah,
in their life. Um, the line that came to mind of the lyrics was like, half of you is missing. And I really need that to be drove home to answer your question earlier. What's my perspective on it? When you look at yourself in the mirror and you're judging yourself on what you believe you should be instead of accepting what you are, right?
right. The shoulds and shouldn'ts.
The
Mhm.
question is, do you realize you're not seeing all of yourself at that moment? Half of you is missing. Right now, we're sitting on a screen, somebody's screen somewhere. Half of us is missing. And we could turn around all we want, but there will still always be half missing. So when you're looking at what you see, you gotta know your whole self exists despite what you see, because your mind will trick you into believing only half of you is there.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I was talking with a friend that kind of prompted this about the issue of the twin flame. And he's like, well, twin flames are mirrors to each other. We all are, though. We're all humans. We're all capable of every human trait. And so when someone displays a certain behavior, that is also an aspect of ourselves. We're capable of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's designed that way. Why would we be designed this way if we didn't have these feelings? To deny them is to actually deny ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and not allow ourselves to be whole. There's just a lot of condemnation and judgment on our dark side, on our maybe not so favorable qualities. Whether we like it or not, they're there. Why not befriend them, incorporate them, learn of their purpose? Like people talk about getting rid of the ego. It's not possible. It's part of yourself. Carl Jung talked about that. It's yourself. Um, it also has a dark side, which whether we want that to be there or not, it's there. Like, for instance, jealousy is the darker side of the ego. I don't think there's anyone that hasn't been jealous. Does that make them wrong and bad? I think really is it why is the person, why are you feeling jealous? The jealousy is a signal from our spirit. And if we don't let it have a voice, like what you said in Debbie Ford's book, you know, the boarded up rooms. If we don't let it have a voice, it's going to come out anyway, and it's usually not in a good way
Mm-hmm.
when we don't honor all of ourselves, including our not so favorable parts like jealousy, as an example. Hope that
Again,
was a good
again, you got to
example.
know the rest of you exists, right? So,
Yeah,
um, go back to our conversation on projection, right?
projection. Yes.
We're like little dolphins that are like sending out sonar beams, and it's bringing back whatever we got to realize that we're putting it out. So what we're seeing is a reflection of ourselves in others, and speak about that dynamic and how the lack that you're seeing in yourself. How can one truly find what they're looking for if they don't believe that it's within their self to know what it is?
The first thing that comes to my mind is self-awareness. Start being aware of yourself. Try to be cognizant of yourself in engaging how you engage with people. Really try to be mindful of how you are, how you behave in your surroundings. I think once you start doing it, you're like, wow, why do I do that? How come I reacted that way? Or why did I say that? Those are powerful questions into learning about these things about ourselves, aspects of ourselves. We're just not paying attention. They're always running, they're a part of us, but we're not present in our day to day living. So we miss out, or we'll just shut it off. You know, people say, oh, I got jealous. Oh, I don't like that. I'm just going to ban the jealousy. But why not first
Banned
find
it.
out why you felt jealous? There's reasons for those feelings. And a lot of times it comes down to feeling inadequate, feeling like we're not enough. And the feeling that comes up in any situation is a signal about yourself. But if it's no bad and wrong all the time, you can't learn what it's trying to tell you. It's like a messenger. That's how that's my humble 2 cents on that. That's how I see. I don't know if I answered your question, but
Yeah, yeah. Everything is a mirror, you're saying.
yeah,
And we have to realize that, because what we're absorbing is dynamics of ourselves and reflection. And
yeah.
that's why I like all of the lines, obviously. I mean, when you when you're writing a song, you like all of it, but that's why there's so much packed into that one fraction of, I guess, I don't, a statement. Very profound. And when you are doing this, right, and looking at other people, you want someone that takes time out for you, right? How do
Mm,
you define what that actually is? Like, some
mm,
people, there's two sides of that coin, right? Like, I need you to be available when I need you to be available, right? It's basically what you're saying. But then at
right.
the same time, that person has life's goals, dreams that they're working on. So how does one define is taking, what qualifies as taking time for another person? Do you here? I guess what I'm saying. You got some people that just, they're available every day. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to, they're there every day. They're ready. And then there's other people that, like me. I could be busy for 6 months. You may not. I could. It might be a year, and it's not even like I ain't thinking about you. It's just, oh, a year went by, and they didn't reach out, right? Either. So how does that dynamic work in a soulmate relationship or a twin flame if you need them to be available for you? Is that remote possibility?
Hmm. Yeah, I
What
really
is
am.
this
I'm probably
definition
going to
go?
sound like a broken record, but I truly feel in the depth of my soul, everything is an inside job. Um, if you're feeling a need for something, I think it's really important to check in with yourself and ask yourself why you need it. What is that need about? And a lot of times it's a need that you can give to yourself. You can fulfill yourself. Um, then you can, if it comes to that point where you're like, need this from your partner, and they're not able to give it to you, that doesn't always mean they don't love you or don't care about you. Some people can't give you what they aren't even able to give to themselves. So I think that we could use as a humanity to really break down needs, where they come from, how to manage them with
Mhm.
ourselves, with our relationship with ourselves, and then with others. But it always has to start with the self. if you're feeling a need in any way. Like I go through this with my spouse all the time, like I get to where I feel like maybe he's not paying attention to me or something, he's distant. Um, which sometimes I think relates to my trauma, but I'll start thinking that there's something wrong. It's because he's quiet or he's dealing with his own stuff. And this is so much in people are dealing with their own stuff, but we internalize it and think it's us. Then we start creating it by, is something wrong? Is something wrong? Until something is wrong. So you create a problem that wasn't even there to begin with. I have to tell myself often when I get like that, what's that about? I check in with myself, Trish. What are you needing from him? What is going on with you? And usually once I figure it out, I find out I don't even need what I thought I needed from it. Was something I wasn't giving myself, an internal dialogue, a past unresolved thing that I still need to work on. Just to answer that question, I just still really think so much comes back to our own stuff, our internal dialogue that we have going on, and unhealed aspects of ourselves and judgments about ourselves. And the poor partner gets the brunt of it,
I
you
think this
know?
is, I think that's, I think I like that imagery because a lot of people are experiencing or have experienced something like that, if not daily or to the point where it ended something for them. Now, I think we can make a transition to, let's say, what I may call my side of the coin, where you've done the self reflection and you realize, or let me ask you this, let me put it in a question form. Can a soulmate slash twin flame, now that we've identified all of the untruths about it being a guaranteed in a human, in another person, because we're looking within ourselves, right? Okay.
Right.
Now, can a soulmate or a twin flame be non be intangible? Can your soulmate slash twin flame not be a living thing, but a purpose or a goal? And you're just so committed to that. And that's the same waltz that you're looking for when people think about the qualities of a soulmate or a twin flame. Can it be your purpose or your goal in life?
Yeah, I think so. I feel to attract a soulmate or a twin flame, you first have to be true to yourself, always. Or you will become resentful when you get into that relationship.
Yes.
You're going to, you first have, when you're being true to yourself, what you really want, and who you are, and honoring your boundaries and communicating and being open and honest as much as possible with yourself and others, the rest will take care of itself. The soulmate, when we are our true selves and we're not trying to put on any airs, we're okay, we've accepted who we are, good, bad, or indifferent, the right person will see us for who we really are and be attracted to the real us. So if you want to find Mr. or Mrs. Right, you first have to be Mr. or Mrs. Right yourself. It comes from yourself.
So
Then the rest, will follow.
you
Took me
identify
so long to
yourself.
figure that out. Sorry, go ahead.
No, excuse me. You identify yourself, right? Because basically, if you want to shift the perspective that the soulmate or twin flame and assign it or assume that it's another living person, not like a corporation or anything, because I know we're on Y-7 and we go into legal terms, and that could be any entity, but an actual human living person, or some people may consider they pets or something. I don't know. Living, whether it's a plant, whatever, right? So if we shift it to away from that, we're solving the issue of the being a gamble. See, because what you're talking about is if you don't fulfill your purpose. Once you get into yourself, you start to see, okay, this is who I am. This is what I like. Now, why do I like this? Why is this chemistry here? And you'll maybe find, oh, because this is what I'm born to do in life. And once you get to that moment where this is what I'm born to do, and you agree and adhere and sign that contract, or recognize that you signed that contract before you got here.
Yeah.
Now you are, every time you assign it to a person, twin flame, soulmate, relationship, title, period, right? When you ask Pasha why you don't do titles, you are gambling with the compatibility factor of that person
Then
and
there's
your
that.
purpose.
Yeah.
Could you, am I illustrating that properly? What do you see there when
Yes.
I say that?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think it's very dangerous to be attached to something outside of yourself for happiness and completeness. It's a very dangerous thing to do. You will be let down. Nobody's perfect.
Right.
People change all the time. What if you meet somebody, you fall in love, and they decide they don't want to be in a relationship anymore? It's not even personal and whatever. They just need time to work on themselves. You're going to be destroyed. That's never a good idea. It's never a good idea to put your happiness in someone else's hands or your completeness. You're setting yourself up to be hurt. To me, that's a gamble. That's a big gamble. It might not happen, but that's a lot of weight to put on another person too, to feel the weight of that. It's too much. Nobody wants to be the end all be all. It's not healthy and it's not realistic. No one is perfect. People make mistakes. Um, and they're also dealing with their own selves and their own stuff. And so I just think it's really unhealthy to look for a twin flame and or before you haven't dealt, before you haven't looked for yourself, before you before you've looked in the mirror, like you said, and dealt
So
with all that you are, every bit of it, good, bad, or indifferent. And I just think that the soulmate and twin flame thing is a form of avoiding doing that very thing.
yeah,
That's just I know because I did it for years. I thought I was a loser if I was single. There's a lot of that going, if you're single, you're a loser. If you want to be committed to your goals and your, like you said, your purpose in life. When people say, how come you don't have kids? Or how come you haven't met anyone? Why is that a problem? Is there something wrong with me? Because I'm happy. Just that
I,
attachment to another person to feel whole or to feel complete, good enough is dangerous. And it can only lead you to being disappointed, I feel. At least it has for me. And that's what's different about me and my relationship now. I'm very mindful of that. I watch it like a hawk. When I start to get too focused on him, when I'm doing that, I go, wait, Trish, stop. What is going on with you? And it's always, it has nothing to do with him. Something that I have to sort. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm
yeah,
answering your question.
yeah, absolutely. Because what it is that we have to get to a point where we take responsibility.
Yeah.
And then when you're taking responsibility, it's you're only responsible for yourself. And once you
Yeah.
accept that, that's where you're going inside and seeing what is it in yourself, right? Now the tie together, that actually is the result of like some emotional control and confidence. Okay. So this key study here I highlighted that shows stable self-esteem, they claim, may be related to lower conflict frequencies in relationships.
Hmm.
So if you're not, that ties into your disclaimer earlier that when one's not comfortable or knowledgeable of themselves, and there's inconsistencies when you're viewing yourself, that means there's gonna be standard outside of any external presence in the world. There's going to be standard deviations and fluctuations in self-esteem, which is going to promote and retard conflicts. And that, when I say relationships, again, see the infinity that it could be your spouse, it could be work, it could be clients if you own your own business, it could be the US dollar in your relation. You know what I mean? It could be anything that you have.
Yeah.
A relationship.
Yeah.
How do you see that?
Oh, I think you said the word that I think it's the most powerful word is self-esteem. 2 words, really. Can only come from yourself. It cannot come from, if you give it, you're giving, that's how you give your power away. Someone else to make you feel your sense of yourself. That's why they call it self-esteem, not other esteem, other people's esteem. Self-esteem is an inside job. It can, if you have low self-esteem, then you have to look at how you're giving your power away to anything, a job, a spouse, family, commitments that you said you could make and maybe you can't anymore or whatever. No one should ever be able to take your self-esteem away. That's ours. That's belongs to us. And it's our job to nurture and manifest for ourselves. So I just think that that's really at the core of what we're talking about. As soon as we start, expecting it, that's a very dangerous thing to do because you can be controlled by people. They can tell you what your self-esteem is, what you're worthy of. That's not a good idea. And we live in a society that really perpetuates that lie, I feel. I see it everywhere. Do this, get this boob job. Not that, hey, I'm not bagging on anybody who gets a boob job. I'm just talking about if you do it for that reason, if you do it because you don't feel good about yourself, okay, that's fine. I mean, if you decide you want to handle that, but just the whole, buy the car, wear this certain kind of clothes, make this certain kind of money, get this certain kind of education, you know, the societal expectations, and you let that in over your own happiness, you'll never, it creates a lot of resentment and unhappiness, and people will be able to control you with that.
So here's the magic.
Yeah.
They're not controlling you. Those people who feel like they're being controlled are controlling themselves into believing that they're being controlled. Here's a pen.
Right.
This pen represents yourself. Well, not yours, but someone's self-esteem. If I show you like this, it's very small and insignificant, right? I mean, if I could make this, just show you this, the point, the very tip, it'd be small, insignificant self-esteem. Not much to it. But if you show a different angle, you see the whole thing. And then now once you see the whole thing, you can imagine the potential uses of it, right? Yes. My point is, it goes back to what we were saying, how powerful this statement is. The mirror, your self-esteem is always 100%. The question is, how much do you know is actually there at that moment? How much do you believe is there at that moment?
Your own awareness of it.
Yes.
Yep.
But your self-esteem is always 100%.
But you have to feed it. You have to nurture it, bolster it, protect it. Because that's your ultimate loving of yourself. I feel, anyways, at least in my experience. It's like, my ex, he when we broke up, he took it all on. He was like, I want a life partner. And I just said, you'll never find a life partner until you're first your own life partner. You have to be that first. Otherwise, your happiness is going to be hinged upon what everybody else does other than you. How's that going to work exactly? Generally doesn't go very well because it's out there and it's never enough.
It's never enough.
That will keep you on that pattern of never enough because you're not investing in the right place. You got to invest in yourself. Then the rest will be drawn to your soulmate, twin flame, what do you want to call it, will come to you. The one that's meant for you, they'll be in alignment with you because you're in alignment with yourself.
Yeah.
You're in tune with yourself. And the
Yeah.
rest, it's like I have a metaphor. You're the cake. Everything else is icing. They can't be the cake. We're the cake. You can't have it the other way. It doesn't go the other way around. You don't get frosting before the cake. You have to have the cake first. And everything else falls together. So once you have that healthy relationship with the mirror and all that you see about yourself and you've accepted it, no one can use it against you to make you feel like you got to keep giving. And it's never enough.
It's never enough. And that's
And it's
that's
never
why I
enough.
really that's why I really enjoy the opportunity to create songs like that, to try and attempt to help heal humanity. Because when you're dealing with the osmosis factor, we got a little over 7 minutes left. If you if you allow your it's here's the magic of it all. We know the energy doesn't come from us, it comes through us. So we can't even truly say that another person or something is draining us, because in order for us to be drained, we must have cut ourselves off from source, the
Allow it.
flow of energy to begin with. So
What are
then
we
it
doing
becomes a
that's
question.
allowing it? Yes.
Then the
Yes.
question becomes, what is your actual soulmate, which puts you back into the mirror, your purpose, and then all of the relationships that exist are sent to you based on what you believe your purpose is. That's it.
And
And you can
I
have
don't
that
know.
on or off consciously or subconsciously. Go ahead, let me hear.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, just things that come to me, our soulmate is ourselves. We're our best mates. Then
Yes.
everything else is, just icing. It's the extra. You're good. They come along and you're sharing the ride.
Standing
Like
with
the
the
relationship I'm in now, we have a rule where we're not there to save each other. We're there to hold each other's hands while we save ourselves from ourselves, our decisions, our thinking, the things that lead us to do and say things. That's our job.
Mhm.
And we're mindful of that. And it's a huge difference. It's different. He goes through his stuff and I let him do it, and vice versa. We're not trying to fix each other. It's not about fixing. Too, that's a whole other podcast. It's not even to fix. If you're
Yeah, because
broken
that's
and you
trying to say
fix it.
something's wrong to begin with. Like, people aren't
Yes,
broken. I mean,
yes,
generally speaking.
yes.
I think Michael Jackson said it great. I'm standing with the
Man,
man in the mirror. Oh, yeah.
I'm asking him to change his way. And
Oh.
no message could have been any clearer. If you
If you
want to
want to
make the
make the
world
world
a
a
better
better
place,
place,
take a
take
look
a
at
look at
yourself.
yourself
Make
and
a
make a.
change.
No.
Na, 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 na. It was a huge hit. I got goosebumps. Great
Yeah,
message.
yeah,
And it's the truth. That's why it was such a big hit. People know this. We just
yeah,
haven't really had these conversations of how true that really is. I think our artists have been such a blessing to bring these messages to the people,
yeah,
um, like Michael Jackson, and talk about a guy who went through quite a bit. We could probably
yeah.
have a podcast on him alone, and not judgment, discernment of understanding.
I think I think the mirror is key. The mirror is the soulmate. The mirror is your reflection. The mirror is the twin flame. Because there are no standard, unless you're born twins, which even like twins are different. They have
Yes.
their differences.
Yes.
So there's no complete twin other than yourself. So you have to study self. You have to know thyself. You have to look into self before you can discover anything outside, because everything's connected. And if you don't see yourself there, then you're missing the connection. Trish, closing remarks, 3 minutes.
I love it. Just what you said. The twin flame, the twin flame you're looking for, the soulmate, is in the mirror. That's where your match is. And then the rest falls together. Once
Mm-hmm.
you really hone in on that truth and look inside yourself, the answers are all there. We're just so taught to go out here. And it leads us astray. People can lead you, can take advantage of you if you're doing that. It opens you up to be taken advantage of. Then the resentment comes and the anger and all that comes with that too. So I love that. The man in the mirror, that's that. The woman in the mirror, that's the person you need to look to for your life's answers.
That's a great closing right there. Trish, let them know where they can find you. Say bye to the people.
Oh, bye. Trish McCabe. You can find me on YouTube channel, trishmccabe.com. I also have conversations from the School of Hard Knocks Facebook page and my own personal Facebook page. And thank you so much. I can't wait to share this on my page. And I highly recommend you guys check out his other videos. There's some great stuff. Some of your recent stuff is just mind-blowing good. I'll be sharing more of it myself. So thank you, Pasha, for having me. Always a perfect day.
Always a perfect day. Make sure to go check out Conversations from the School of the Hard Knocks. Trish McCabe. I'll put the links in the description. Pasha Paroh, White at 7. Thank you for tuning.